This year's inductees into the Western Kentucky University Hall of Distinguished Alumni include a world-renowned surgeon and political leader, a prominent businessman in the agricultural industry, a distinguished educator and guidance counselor, and a giant in the banking and investments industry, and a much decorated U.S. Army general. These five will join 35 Western greats inducted since the Hall was established in 1992. Wendell Strode, the president-elect of the Alumni Association, will come forward and assist in the presentations. Wendell? You may want to situate your seating. We will have visual presentations of each of the recipients, so you might want to get comfortable. I think you're going to enjoy learning more about these five distinguished individuals. We will start with Lieutenant Governor Stephen L. Henry. Lieutenant Governor Steve Henry is a 1976 graduate who served as his past president in 1973 and 1974 and served as president of the Student Government Association. Steve is a personal friend of mine, and it's been a pleasure getting to know Steve. He served on the Board of Regents during our time together as students, and he has been elected as Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, this year's first inductee, the Honorable Stephen L. Henry.
While growing up in Owensboro, Steve Henry's best friend was Steve Ford, son of then State Senator Wendell Ford. Henry went to the county fairs, heard the speeches, and watched as his mentor worked the crowd. He also watched as Ford won a governor's race and several races for United States Senate. Ford gave his life to serving the people of Kentucky. From a very early age, Steve Henry knew he wanted to do the same thing. He enrolled at Western Kentucky University in 1972. He was elected class president in 1973 and 74. And by the end of his Western career, he was president of the student body and sat on the Board of Regents.
And so there was a great deal of pressure placed upon me by those 8 individuals, which was very good for me. I thought it caused me to mature a lot and to understand the political process a lot.
Student government took up endless hours of Henry's time, but his coursework was not lightweight either. Upon graduation, he had a biology degree and admission into the University of Louisville Medical School. Both dreams have come to fruition. Today, he's a world-renowned surgeon and Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
I don't feel like it's necessary to have the biggest house on the block or have the fanciest car. I think when all's said and done one day, I'm going to be very happy that I dedicated myself to my community and to my state and to the nation, hopefully.
Henry has had several ask him, why not just stick with medicine and get out of politics? His answer?
In the political world, you can do so much more for more people by putting a bill through a legislative process or by implementing a health care policy than you can by seeing people in your office. And I still believe that to be true, and I think that's how I can make a bigger difference to Kentucky.
Henry continues to make a big difference in medicine. He still practices it and teaches it. He helped develop antibiotic beads that are packed directly into wounds by emergency first responders. American forces used the invention in Operation Desert Storm. He balances the matters of state and the operating room by remembering the phrase, "The spirit makes the master."
That little simple motto, if you will, has taught me that, if there's a wall there, there's a way around it or a way through it. You just have to have the spirit and the will to do it.
He'll always hold a special place for Western Kentucky University in his heart.
Western has a lot of great tradition, number one. But more than anything else, I think it is a Southern university that has the friendliness, the ability to make you feel like you're one of the family. At the same time, it has a great academic tradition. And all that combined is a wonderful experience in those college years. And I know that's why I think I have so many friends from Western, is that we all kind of molded together as a family at that university. You don't do that in the bigger universities. You don't see that, I don't think, to any great extent from other universities that I have experienced.
No matter where his medical career may take him, Henry knows his place is in public service. He says nothing will ever hold him back.
You want to push as hard as you can push. And again, I don't know how much of that I got from my parents. Certainly, you know, they got their instruction from Western. And I think that they have instilled in me those same values of, you know, why have limitations? There are no limitations that are set upon us. It's the only limitation that you have is what your spirit gives you.
1998 Hall of Distinguished Alumni honoree, the Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Dr. Steve Henry.
Well, thank you very much. It is indeed an honor, and I was kind of kidding with some old faculty members back in the back and some of the administrators who have spent a few days with me that I appreciated them not saying anything. And Ron, thank you very much back in the back. You know, it's been a wonderful trip for me, and I feel like that probably I'm getting this with the expectations that I'm going to do a lot more in the future because the other recipients have done so much in their lives compared to mine. So it's indeed an honor just to be in the same class as them. But, you know, I've got so many memories of Western. I'm just going to kind of give you a few. But Dr. Downey, it's wonderful to see you here. Dr. Downey was the first person I met on campus, and that was kind of president he was, one that made the students feel welcome. And throughout my career, especially as a student body president and as a regent, he had a lot of personal conferences with me, and I appreciate those. You got me sent from Western on the right road and staying between the white lines, and I appreciate it. You know, I'm amazed from time to time when I remember the very valuable lessons I got at this university. And, you know, obviously I've been at this university, and I want to recognize my mother. Mother, if you would please stand. She and Dad were students here in the, should I tell them? No, I can't tell them. It was before I was here, somewhere in the 50s, late 40s, something like that. But I can remember the old football stadium. I can remember Dad telling me about the Diddle legacy, the Smith brothers, and just on and on. And I remember just as a young kid coming when this Jim McDaniels fellow was starting with all these new basketball players as freshmen. And so Western's been a part of my life, and it's just been a tremendous experience. Having spent some time with Gary when he was a student, he taught me several things, and you know, we bought a duplex together. As most of my friends back at that table, my group of friends, or probably 12 of us, bought duplexes when we were juniors and seniors in college trying to be entrepreneurs. And Gary and I ended up with the duplex, and he taught me two things. We found out that we were going to have to pave the driveway, and we needed a lot of rock brought in and smoothed off and all the grading done. And he taught me delegation. He taught me how to do it, and I did it, and he was the brains behind the action. And then Scotty's came in and paved it after I had hauled all the rock and smoothed it out, and I figured real quick I wanted to go to medical school because that hard manual labor in the hot summer wasn't worth a toot. So very valuable lessons. But, you know, the chemistry teachers were very good to me, and I never dreamed that, you know, one day I came into, I think it was Dr. Wilkins, and I said, I'd like to do an independent research project. And he said, what is it? And I said, well, these catalytic converters have platinum in them. And he kind of listened, and I said, I think I can leach it out of those little bitty beads and have a sludge that's high in concentration of palladium and platinum, which is very expensive, by the way. And he said, by all means. And so what I learned about small beads and pellets back in those days paid off. That little research project to where in medicine we have antibiotic impregnated beads, where we put antibiotics in it. We used them in the Persian Gulf, and actually I personally got a lot of notoriety, but it came from Western. And people don't realize that the little things you learn here at this university had international effects. And it's very impressive. And again, the faculty at this university, at every conversation and at every conference, had the ability to change all of our lives, and really did that very specialized attention has paid off for me a great deal. And whether I am lecturing at the University of UCLA or Harvard, where I've had the privilege of teaching, You know, Western is where I learned my education. And so when this little boy goes to those big institutions, or if I go on an international trip to lecture, you know, I learned my biology, my chemistry, and my lessons right here. So I'm very proud of this institution, and wherever I go, I'm going to take the Hilltopper family with me. I can assure you that. Thank you very much for this very important honor for me.
Our second